There we go. Right. Let's do questions. Okay, so following up on what Akon was saying, so tracer bombs and Junkrat bombs. So Junkrat tire does more damage. Like the splash is just, it feels thicker when it's on the floor. Don't ask me why, but that's just how it kind of works. So if you let it touch the ground and it's in a group of people, it's going to do more damage, but of course detonating in the air is more useful. With tracer bomb, I'm not 100% sure. We might be able to test it. But I think a stick is going to do 300 damage no matter what. Stick will do maximum damage. It's the splash and how the splash works that's going to be confusing. And that's how it's going to be a little bit weird, I think. There's no sound at the moment, so I'm just going to keep rambling. There we go. Let's get Tracer. Let's build ourselves a pulse bomb. So fast. It's 1,000 damage. Need a couple of these guys. Yep. One more. I should respawn in a second. 98. Go. Let's go back to these guys. So we've got these two bots. I'm going to throw a bomb on this guy, and then I'm going to throw a bomb on the floor right in front of him. That's how this is going to work, and we'll see how it goes. So that's about 30 hit points left, 35 hit points left, so that's 165 on this guy. Okay, let's build up another bomb. Let's go to the big collection of bots. I wish they would put like an easy, like a 0 cooldowns mode in the hero, in the testing range, firing range. And there we go. And okay, let's try not to stick. Let's try and put the pulse bomb like right here. Does more damage. There you go. That was pretty much equidistant, but did more damage. So there you go. Found it out. We solved the mystery. So the AoE is actually bigger when it's still stuck. At least that's how it felt. Like, that wasn't a huge difference in space. I don't know whether that was 35 or not, but that certainly felt bigger. The thing with putting it on the floor, okay, so sticking is useful because it guarantees a kill on the target you stuck, usually. It's going to do 300 damage on the dot, on the nose. You know what it's going to do. You know exactly what it's going to do. The thing with putting it on the floor is it's very nice to put it on the floor in a clump, because what will happen in a clump, okay, at higher levels, in theory, what will happen in a clump is that people will stand still when they get hit by a bomb. They'll just stand there and go, okay, I'm hit by a bomb, everyone else moves. And that's way easier for people to reposition. If everyone tries moving, so if you get stuck, stand the fuck still. Because if you try moving and everyone else is moving, you move in the same direction as someone else, they're gonna die. You just stand still. But the idea is that you put the friggin' bomb on the floor if it's a clump of people, and it's basically like, if I put a bomb beneath me, you can see like how the exclamation mark moves. It's very weird, like when it's just underneath you on the floor. It's very strange how it kind of moves around. It's very, very difficult to read what direction you necessarily need to be moving in. And that's sort of the trick. So let's just start dancing here, because I have the dancer mode, so there we go. Alright, let's bring chat back. Getting the win with Crybabies feels more tilting than losing. Yeah, it annoys me too. Like, I hate it when people go, you know, oh my god, guys, we can't win with this comp, what the fuck? And it's just like, yeah, and then you go and win with the comp. It's just like, chill out. Don't throw your toys out the pram until you won. I record on 15 megabytes per second, and it's good as it is. YouTube ruins the quality to shit. I saw on YouTube videos 1080p that look really good, and I think what they do is, yeah, this is what this guy's done. So if you record to like Super HD, basically, well, record to 4K, then the bitrate allowance is higher, which I don't understand it. You'd have to read guides on YouTube. Like, I record it the same as you. I record Shadowplay at 15 Mbps, and then I upload it that, but YouTube downscales it to 12K. But yeah. Every time I get to a 1v1 as Tracer vs Zen, I get him low and then he two-shots me and lives on, so I just can't stay calm around Zen. Just gonna get some crews, don't even get me started, just flashbang a headshot. Just ... So with Zenyatta, it's always going to be a little bit risky. Just remember that Zenyatta is more scared of you than you are of him. And the more practice you do, the easier it gets. Also remember that Zenyatta is going to move in predictable ways. Zenyatta is not going to do anything fancy. He's not going to... I've just noticed there's a friggin' thing here. Zenyatta is not going to do anything particularly flash with his movement. So if I go and pick up Zen... Let's get my UI back. So if I go pick up Zen... Where are you, Zen? Hello, Zen. Also, I love this skin combo. Looks so good. with the golden balls as well, because they have like white in the middle. Looks great, and it's almost Halloween anyway. So with Zen's fighting a target, Zen moves in predictable ways. Like he doesn't have a movement ability, so anything he's going to do is going to be limited to his normal movement speed, right? Already hear the clacking of my keyboard. He's not going to do anything fancy. All Zen is doing is he's shooting at head height and trying to sort of keep track of you. And that's all he's doing. Is he's trying to hit you at head height and he's just moving around. So usually what the fight ends up looking like is the Zenyatta is sort of in the middle and the Tracer kind of orbits around him. What I would suggest is this. First things first, understanding Tracer's DPS output. So if you land nothing but body shots, you can still one-clip a target. Tracer does about 230 to 250, I think, with full clip. So if we just... Okay, it's not quite that high. So it's just over 200. About 230. With a full clip, without any headshots. With headshots, you're looking at what, like 460? So first things first, understand that if you aren't going to get one clip, you at least want to end the fight by 2 clips. Like, more than 2 clips and you fucked up, is my general rule of thumb. So when you first get the burst on him, you're looking to just make sure that first burst is as chunky as possible. He doesn't see you coming, hopefully, and you can just focus on getting as much damage as possible into him. Second clip is more evasive, and that's when you're sort of anticipating, like, how well is he aiming? Don't be afraid to just crouch a little bit as well, because he's going to be aiming for headshots, because it gets rid of you as quickly as possible. And the idea is this: if you're doing it in 2 clips, it takes 1 second to empty this, 1 second to reload, 1 second to fire. So you want to end the fight in 3 seconds. If the fight takes longer than 3 seconds, you're in trouble. Because that's when he's going to start getting his eye in, and if he does land that headshot, you're dead. Like, you lose. So it's very, very high intensity for the Zen. The other thing you can do is blink through him, because you know that you're going, like, first of all, make sure you empty, like, dodge, empty your clip, blink through him. And, like, because you know when you're blinking, it's harder for him. You can also try just blinking early and anticipating that. Because the idea is that he does, like, if you're doing the shoot, blink while reload, shoot, it's predictable. While if you're doing it more unpredictably, but I'd say that worry about that more at higher levels and just try and get used to the Zen. Because the Zen should be a target that you are focusing. So you should get used to how he plays and how he reacts to you and how he aims. If you do that, and he's trying to do the same on you, like, just try and vary up your patterns. And don't be afraid to just, like, if you do get a good first salvo, so let's say you get him down to about this, do not be afraid to, like, blink. Like, do not be afraid to do this and just blink straight into him. Occasionally, it does work. The risk there is that if you blink straight into him and he just fires, he can hit you with it. So be very careful. I'd suggest blinking more like this and then finishing like that instead. So that you're not going straight into him, you're going more just to the side and then shooting. But do gap close, basically. Let's see. Every time, yeah, so we did that. And McCree, just bait the flashbang. Like, there's no better advice. Blink towards him and then blink back, and you'd be surprised at how many people do it. Just flash. What do you think playing Tracer makes the player less communicative? You don't talk much about playing Tracer. I do that too. Also, playing Tracer is sort of relaxing. It's because Tracer is very high intensity. It's like with Zenyatta, there's generally lulls in the action where you're just waiting for something to happen, and you can talk, and you can, like, I can stream and talk and chat. When I'm streaming playing Tracer, I am very focused on what I'm doing moment to moment. I have to be constantly aware of what I'm doing. I have to be constantly listening to what's happening around me. Because if I make a mistake, you die. And so with Tracer, it's very hard to sort of play in a very focused style and talk at the same time. At least, especially like if you don't play a huge volume with Tracer, it's just very hard to do. And so it's just very, very difficult as you are trying to just, like, think about your blinks, you're trying to think about your target prior, you're trying to think about what you're doing and evading and dodging damage and stuff like that. Like, there's a million and one things going on inside your head while you're trying to talk at the same time. It's going to be next to impossible. Tracer is very punishing on mistakes, and it's much easier to make mistakes when you're trying to multitask, so usually, like, multitasking is the first thing to go. So, yeah. Whoa. Oh. Right. What do you think of the Crosshair? I didn't... his was very large. I wasn't a big fan of it. I like my crosshairs in the middle of the screen. That being said, I actually do like circle crosshairs on Tracer. So if I go to Options, Controls, and I go to Tracer. Like, let me do this now, because why not? Crosshairs, circle, and crosshairs. I think I just want... Is it just circle? Yeah, and there's a dot on that. So we want to change this. We want thickness to be 2. Actually, that might be too thick. And we want the center gap to be a little bit bigger, about here. And that looks good. So it just lets me know it might need to be a tiny bit bigger. Like if I look at the spray on the wall, you can see it's a little bit larger. So let's just make it a tiny bit bigger. Because what we want is we want that circle to sort of denote, if it's inside that circle, am I hitting most of my shots? That's all you want it to sort of mean. I want all frig. Let's go back to Tracer. There we go, advanced. Let's just increase the center gap a tiny bit. There. That looks about right. Don't have aim bloom on Tracer, for the love of God. Tracer has like, I think the first shot is always accurate, but that's literally it. Like, you can see the spread is just lightning fast. So don't have the aim bloom, for the love of God. You definitely want something to just denote the middle of the screen, and then something to just tell you, if the target is in the crosshair, am I dealing a lot of damage? And that works. So circle is actually quite nice for Tracer. Other thing I would recommend is just get used to tracking targets, like moving alongside them and just tracking along. Even if you're stationary, just learning how to sort of just track with the target. Maybe just lead them ever so slightly, just because Overwatch's engine kind of rewards that. But you want this to be as smooth as possible. It takes practice. I'm not very good at it. You did an unboxing video once? Yes, I did. As part of a paid promotion by Razer. Actually, it wasn't paid. It was it was paid in that they gave me like Razer gear. They'll actually have. I just don't use. Yeah, like they gave me this stuff. Not terrible. It's not amazing. Didn't blow my socks off. Prefer my current gear. Yeah. I do use the mouse mat they sent though. Great big one. I don't know if you read your DM on Discord. I did read it. I read it later though. Like, the thing with me and private messages is they get sent and then I'll read them later usually. So thank you. Thank you for the compliment. When you say don't stop moving, would that be an S-Club beat? Yes, it would. Can you? Is it don't stop moving? Can you feel the music? DJ's got me going round. If I remember right, Jesus, I grew up to that music. So famous. Ooh, I'm really not. Also, post Blue Skies Tracer on YouTube. There's a tutorial for the quick pulse bomb technique. Okay, I'll look that up. I don't want to play it now because that's stealing someone else's content. But go look that up. Blue Skies Tracer. If someone's done a good tutorial, I'm all for advertising it. Hoping that others do the same for me. How much do you recommend rebinding a pulse bomb off Q? I find it helps me aim pulse bomb, doesn't hinder movement. I've heard people have a lot of success with it. For me, it's just a matter of having like parity with all the rest of my abilities, so I'm used to pressing Q. I've been playing Overwatch for like 2 fucking years now, so I'm an old dog. Like, it's very hard to teach me new tricks. Is it 2 years? Beta started on... Was it November that beta started? No, it wasn't. It was early. It was September, wasn't it? Beta started around now. It was September something. It definitely wasn't November, because I remember going to BlizzCon, and like the weird thing about going to BlizzCon when you owned Overwatch back then, or when you had the beta back then, was you went to BlizzCon to play Overwatch that you could technically play at home. And I spent almost all BlizzCon playing the new heroes when I was there. Anyway, yeah, I'm too used to Q. But I do see the appeal of it, especially to like a mouse button, because the hard thing with Tracer is Pulse Bomb, you usually do it while moving. Like, it's usually a very quick motion that you're doing while moving. So the hard part about Q is that you press Q with, so if you think about your 3 fingers, you press Q with this one. And if you press it, like someone had it bound to F, I think, and you press it with this one. So it's very hard to move to your left and press Q at the same time. Very, very tricky. So yeah. So I would say a mouse button more than keyboard buttons, but yeah, like binding it to right click wouldn't be a bad idea. Any tips for Tracer versus Hog and vice versa? I think I did bind it to right click on an account and I just kept accidentally throwing pulse bombs. That was why I stopped. Any tips for Tracer versus Hog and vice versa? You as Hog, enemies Tracer. So Tracer versus Hog is always a bit of a gamble, and with new Hog, like with the faster fire rate, it's tricky. Just remember that you are not looking to kill the Roadhog. It is extremely difficult for the Tracer to get the Roadhog. The main idea is that you want to be you either want to get a pulse bomb off him, or you just want to get headshots in him, force him to huff his paint can, and I would say don't bother shooting him when he's huffing it. Like the half damage reduction really screws you over. So you can just like body shot him, but don't go fancy and like try and headshot him while he huffs his paint can, because you're not going to get him down in that time, and you're setting yourself up usually for an easy hook afterwards, or an easy shot afterwards, so just be careful with that. Like, just shoot him from a distance, whittle him down, and then go from there. Don't try and kill the Roadhog unless you have a pulse bomb, because you're going to struggle doing that. If you don't have a pulse bomb and there are targets focusing on him, then you can help out, and just, like, bait the hook is the big thing. The hook is the thing that's really going to end your day. So if you manage to fish that out of him, then he's just got left clicks, but keep in mind that the left clicks are a problem as well. If he lands a shot, recall, do not be afraid to disengage, do not be afraid to run away. There are better things for you to be doing. It's sort of the universal rule. If you're playing Roadhog, keep track of the Tracer's blink. She has 3 blinks and 1 recall, and after recalling, she usually has 1 blink. Try and force her blinks with the left clicks and right clicks. Try and just put damage on her as much as possible, melee her when possible. You want to get the recall gone as soon as you can, and just try and land that hook. She's going to be actively trying to avoid the hook, so if you just, like, if Tracer is fighting you, and especially at lower levels, I'd say, like, don't be afraid to just hold onto your hook for a little while and count blinks out. Because she's going to be reacting as if you're going to hook her at the first opportunity. Like, the amount of times you engage a Roadhog as Tracer and a Hog just throws the hook, and that means that the Tracer just knows, okay, well now I just have to worry about left clicks. I'm going to stand at medium distance about this range, and I'm just going to plug at you, and there's not much you can really do about it. Like, the odds of you landing the sweet spot right click on me is so small that I'm just going to stand about this distance and then blink around and just shoot. Shoot, blink. Shoot, blink. And I'm just going to do this and just dodge your bullets. And, like, I can afford to do this and then blink, shoot. And then, oh, you hit me? Okay, I'm just going to recall and I'm going to keep doing it. And so it's very easy to dodge the Roadhog in that way. So that's what I'd recommend. Particularly reduce splash radius but not damage? Yeah, that seems about right. If Ice Cream was able to blink 5 times and Tracer tasted like blueberries, how many mercies would it take to change the light bulb? Miranda, are you feeling okay? You're struggling. It's 400? Sorry, I said 300. They changed bots to actually have 200 hit points. Bots have had 200 hit points forever, I think. What's your favourite ice cream? What flavour of ice cream is Tracer's pulse bomb? Electric raspberry. Do you get more money from Twitch or from YouTube, not live recordings? Twitch, by a long fucking shot. Twitch, absolutely a long shot. Twitch is way better for monetization. Are you kidding? Spoiler alert, if you're going to be a YouTuber or a streamer, start with streaming. Try and do both, but start with streaming. If you want to go into it as a business. Like, YouTubers do not make good money compared to streamers. I recall you saying that you're not a fan of Tracer on defense. You haven't commented on this game. Has something changed? I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but it does work. It's just more that Tracer is extremely powerful at the moment, so it doesn't make a... Like, Tracer is good in the meta, so playing Tracer on defense is okay. The issue I have with Tracer on defense is that she doesn't exert pressure. We talked about this concept in the past, where you are looking to basically put out as much sort of... You're trying to stop the enemy team just rushing in and killing you as much as possible. So the idea is that you want to have it so that the enemy team just can't walk forward and go into you. If you're playing Tracer, the enemy team can do that, because they're technically, if they death, and like the meta used to be death ball, so it was like a ball of 6 fighting a ball of 5, and then Tracer was somewhere nipping at the heels. And if Tracer didn't get work done, then it was just 5 versus 6. And it was too easy for like a Lucio to just heal everyone up, or an Ana to just heal everyone up. Back when I was giving that advice out, teams were tankier, teams were more durable, so Tracer was a lot harder pressed. Now that we're in dive meta, now that Zenyatta, for example, is in vogue, although that's fading away now, Tracer can have a higher impact, all in all. So what you're looking for is that kind of, that defensive... Like, playing Tracer on defense is more about killing their supports off, and then you sort of sweep out the legs of the team, and that works a lot better on a team that is playing dive. Now that Mercy's in the meta, Deathball's coming back in, it's still a little bit trickier. What I would say is also my knowledge of the game has changed, and so playing Tracer defensively, in my mind, is more about putting pressure on supports, building pulse bombs, and putting pulse bombs in clever places. You get those 3 down, and I think you'll be doing fine. You've just got to make sure that if you are doing something like counter dive, you're diving with someone else, you're going for the right target, and you are getting kills. But the hard part with playing Tracer on defense is that pressure aspect, where the enemy team can just walk through and do a lot of work. Or in a damage to it, yeah, sorry. I know, I'm brain farted, I'm sorry. How much overlap does Trace have with Sombra, skill-wise? Both need tracking, you want to build up quickly, with both of them you want to look for weird angles. Kind of, yeah. The thing with Sombra is... Actually, no, they both have a lot of similar logic. I'd say the thing with Tracer is Tracer just engages a lot harder. So Sombra doesn't want to take fights necessarily. She wants to just build up her ultimate. It's very rare that you don't want to take a risk with Sombra. Like, this is, to me, is one of the worst habits of Sombra. It's one that I had to sort of force out of myself, which is you don't want to take super risks with Sombra, where if the enemy team turns and starts shooting at you as Sombra, you just translocate and you're out. You're safe. With Tracer, you can afford to fight that little bit longer and buy some time for your team and maybe just create a little bit of a distraction, create a little bit of pressure on a flank, and then you get out when you feel like you're taking too much. And so Tracer is that little bit more active. But overall, I'd say, yeah, they have a lot of overlap. Any advice on making fast plans when you're leaving spawn? Just understand what killed you. Think about what's winning them the game. Think about, like, what is my traditional objective in this match, which that takes a lot of experience. But if they have like a Zenyatta and you haven't been shooting at him much, you might want to go, I need to shoot this Zenyatta more. I need to try something. Or if you just like left spawn twice and died twice pretty much instantly, you need to leave the spawn and go, I need to try something different. Maybe you need to change hero. Maybe you need to just change your approach. Like, you've got to come up with something that it's like, the worst thing you can do is leave spawn like 3 times in a row and just die to the same thing every single time. Where you blink in and the McCree just flashes you and headshots you, and it's like, okay, that's a problem. That's happened to me several times now. I need to have it not happen to me. And then you can change your approach. You can blink forward and then instantly blink back, and McCree throws the flashbang because he's done it twice before and it doesn't work this time, then you go and kill Zenyatta. And it's like, holy shit, that worked. Or you focus on burning down a tank that overextends, or you vary up your approach. It's just a matter of just changing up what hasn't been working towards what has been working. If what you've been doing has been working, then try and think of why has this been working. Is the enemy team just not protecting the Zenyatta? Okay, well, just keep killing the Zenyatta and you're going to win. Like, just keep doing that, basically. Yeah, experience helps, but make sure you check what your team is, make sure you check what the enemy team is, who's on fire, who isn't on fire, what's the kill feed. Do you need to stall? Do you need to engage? Do you need to is your team disengaging? Are you repositioning? What are you doing at this moment? And what are you doing to help your team achieve that? It's basically how I try and do it, and it takes a lot, but practice will make it fast. Does bomb go through shields? As a Ryan, if I get stuck, should I try and turn 180 and my shield so? But this is actually we've got some good advice for this one. Okay, so no, bomb does not go through shields, but it is next to impossible. I haven't actually tested this new feature out. Oh, baby. It is next to impossible to tell what side of the barrier the bomb is on. Okay, first things first. You will not be able to tell what side of the barrier that the bomb is stuck on. So that's the hard part. So if Tracer sticks on the outside, you're not going to really know if it's on the... Like, if Tracer just blinks forward and sticks a bomb and then recalls, you're not going to know whether it's on the inside or the outside. How do you fix this? Very simple. You let go of right mouse button, the bomb drops to the floor, and then you hold right mouse button and you block. And step back, and you'll block it every time. Works every fucking time. The key thing is that make sure you don't... So what ends up happening is Pulse Bomb is a physical object in the world. Like, I need something to hold down right mouse button. So Pulse Bomb is a physical object in the world when it's not stuck to something, or even when it is stuck to something. And this is why it behaves weirdly sometimes, because it will stick, and then when you let go of the right click, it will drop, and during that period where it's dropping, it can stick to something else. So when you bring the barrier back up, it will have hit the floor back there by then, and then you just jump and look down at it, and you'll catch the bomb. You don't even need to really jump, but I find jumping just works. Like, the bomb doesn't go under the barrier enough, I think, usually. So if you do see a stick, like, and you aren't sure, let go, back, and block. Block's a charm. Oop. Let's get back to let's put Tracer in a corner. Oh, look at a boogie down. And then go hit. I reckon a tank bot would be a good one. Yeah, I'd like that. Any tips on Tracer versus Genji? Bait the deflect, understand that you can disengage at any time, understand that he can probably disengage at any time. When he gets in close, he is a lot scarier than you would think. Because if he lands 3 shurikens, that's basically it for you. So you be super careful about that. Try and dodge the dash. Do not get hit by the dash. It's the easiest part of his kit he can land. And try and find him at medium range. When I say medium range for Tracer, it's like still close range for everyone else, but medium range for Tracer. Like, you don't want to be up in his grill because then he just right clicks you and you die. because one of them's going to hit you in the head and then you just explode. So try and find him like at about 10, 7, 8 meters, not really 10, like 6, 7, 8 meters. That's a lot safer for you, because that means only one shuriken's ever really going to hit you. How to get better at tracking? Oh, 240. See, everyone fucking knows these numbers off by heart except me, apparently. How to get better at tracking? Practice. Play quick play free-for-all, and just play. You're on a question, when to use duck to evade? Erratically. And whenever you do it, you just slow down. So don't duck too long. As Tracer, it's generally better to blink than duck. Uses 2 blinks, but one move I find works really well in 1v1 is blink forward through the target, then backwards again to your original position. They almost always turn around to find you, and you can shoot them in the back. The problem with that is, if they're listening, they'll realize that you blink twice, and then they'll just keep shooting. So I would rather you just do better with the first blink, and like the difference between blinking, turning, shooting, and evading, and then blinking, turning, shooting, and evading, in terms of actual, is going to be better than blink, and then just like continually shooting. Like, you're still setting yourself up to shoot them and to make them change where they're aiming at and buy yourself a half second. But the reality is you're using 2 blinks to do it in this instance, when you could just be using one shooting, and like just keep shooting. Like, I'd rather you just like focus on fighting with your blinks and then going from there. I don't have a UI, so I can't see how many blinks I have. Blink conservation can be very hard. Is it worth hiding a little bit for blinks to get back? Yes. If you're starting to make a play, do not start to make the play without 3 blinks, basically. The more you have, the better. I find myself super worried when people hear me when I go on them and they don't see me. What's the plan to get as close to them with a steady hand? In general, like, Tracer's footsteps are actually very quiet. I don't have sound on at the moment, so you won't actually be able to hear them. Tracer's footsteps are pretty quiet. It's actually very difficult to hear. So you're not going to hear her coming super easily. The big thing is just don't do this. For the love of God, do not do this. Where it's like, oh, there's a target here. I'm going to... Oh, look, I'm shooting at him. Okay, I'm going to go... Like, the moment you fire those first shots, the target has already reacted. So the idea is, you can see the target and it's like, okay... Well, by the time you're in range for them to hear your footsteps, you're generally in blink range anyway, so it's like, okay, I know my target's here, so I'm going to blink in now, and now I'm doing damage. And now I can one-clip him. And it's... When people are getting surprised with something, like an ambush happens, it's like there's that second delay, where they're still figuring out what the fuck is actually going on, and how to react to it. And you want to maximize how much of that you have. You can also, this works a goddamn treat, is if you know that the target's coming from a certain direction, you just hide. It's like, okay, that's the Zenyatta leaving spawn, blink, shoot, dead. Easy. I don't have a crosshair, I would be trying to land headshots. Let's turn that on, there we go. Ooh, I can aim. So it's like, you know that there's a Zenyatta leaving spawn. Oh, he's still coming. I'm just going to wait, make sure you stay crouched. There he is, okay, blink, headshots, dead. Dead. And you could even just like blink, bomb, got him. Still worth. Is there a good crosshair for Tracer? Mine. Kappa. One blue one Tracer. Couple. Went through that. It doesn't actually mean anything. Someone sent in a new Mercy video. Nope. I haven't heard of Doomfist as well. Is blinking through a reload a good thing? Is it good to dance around targets using blinks? In general, yes. The only thing is it's very predictable. But it's predictable for a good reason, and people still don't quite do it. I'd say if you're starting to get towards Masters and GM, you want to start breaking that habit, but before then, it's still probably the most efficient way of using your time. Your first video was in November 2014. Yeah, no, that's different though. The first video in November 2014, that was the Tracer video. Overwatch was announced in 2014. At BlizzCon. Yeah, at BlizzCon 2014. It was released in beta, I think September 15th, I think. Was it October? I think it was September. No, it was, because the joke was full 10th, wasn't it? But it wasn't actually released on any 10th, I think. I don't know. Missed earlier question. Sorry, up next is, let's find it. Ooh, Easier to just repost at this point. How to get better at tracking? No, I didn't. I got it, I think. Unless there was a question even earlier. Blink versus recall. When do I use which to get the hell out? If you have blinks, use blinks. If you need to recall, recall. It is easier to recall. It is easier to blink then recall than blink, because blink, like while you are recalling, your blinks are coming off cooldown as well. So you generally you'll blink, and then it's like fighting. Okay, I got to make a decision. Well, if you recall, well now I have 2 blinks, and if you've got a better pathway, a better route, then you use the recall. So an example is like if you're fighting, like let's say I'm fighting bots, like I'm fighting this guy. Oh god, we're fighting. Okay, I need to get out, so I'm gonna blink and fight. And oh god, there's a guy here as well. Okay, I'm gonna blink this way and I'm gonna go this way instead. Like in general, you want to use your blinks first because recall is you're much more committed to using a recall than you are to using your blinks. Is it okay to get a few enemies to follow me across the map so my team can win by outnumbering them without doing too much myself? Yes, that is fine. The thing to keep in mind with that though is it can be very deceptive, where you can end up doing that while your team is dead, and it's like 4 people are chasing you around, but because everyone on your team is dead, they're not actually going anywhere. So you're not actually buying much time. I used to do this all the time. I used to be a real bastard for this. I used to play a shitload of Genji back when the game first came out. And I used to play a ton of Genji, and I used to buy tons and tons of time. Like, I used to be able to lead people all over the fucking place, and dodge and juke and fucking jive. I was amazing at it. And then I realized that it wasn't actually doing anything. And I was, so I started getting frustrated. It's like, guys, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you pushing, guys? Me. And then it was like, well, we're all dead, or we're all out of position. Like, we can't push right now, so it doesn't matter what you're doing. And I used to do this all the time. And I realized after a while that what I was doing was, sure, it was all this evasive stuff, and I was eating up time on the enemy team, but it wasn't time that was relevant, and that was the problem. We'll do 1 or 2 more questions. Hope you can become an analyst for the OWL. I'm applying. I need to make a video, but yeah. Is deathmatch any good for practicing general dogfighting with Tracer? Yes, absolutely. People talking about the adpocalypse. Oh, the apocalypse. It's so stupid, though. When should you prioritize an anti-countering? Fire should focus on hits against you to work freely, but Tracer just kind of fucks off fighting unpleasant counters. Should Tracer focus on 76 if there's a fire on a team? In general, no. Like, you should still focus on the... Like, you should... If you can kill the Soldier 76, then sure, but in general, you should be putting pressure on their supports where possible. Tracer's just a lot better at it. The problem with Tracer versus 76 is this. If you dive with the Pharah, then it can work amazingly because the Pharah can do most of the damage, but 76 is actually a hard kill for Tracer. Because you're going to do a lot of damage to him and he's going to put his heal field down, and then Tracer, 76, when he wants to be, is very evasive. He jukes, he fucking dodges very well, while putting out tons of damage. The rocket is scary as hell, and so you want to be a little bit afraid when fighting 76. You don't really want to be pulled into a long fight with 76. And so you shouldn't be looking to sort of open up the Pharah. It should more be that the Pharah is occupying so much attention that you can then get in and get to the Zen and get to the Ana, for example, or the Mercy, and put enough damage on them that you can start just getting kills. It's why I'm not a big fan of like Pharah Tracer without playing like a really aggro dive. Late October, there you go. I think it was October, it was 27th, I think, 26th, 27th. And I remember being super scared because US beta went online first, and then EU beta went online in like an hour later. According to you, in late October. According to me. What the fuck do I know? Anyway. Let's see. It does work sometimes. You want to pull people out, choking your teams. Very yeah, it happens sometimes. Anyway, thank you guys for watching to the end. This is the end of the Coaching the Many session. Good timing, Phaeton. Very good timing. Excellent thing. If you really like Bloom on your Crosshair, go fucking nuts. Who am I to tell you otherwise? If you love it, go do it, but I think it's a bit pointless. Anyway, if you want to send your footage in, the link is on screen, oamreviews@gmail.com. It's also in the description below. Feel free, absolutely free to send it in. Costs you nothing. Subscribers have slightly higher prio. I think this was a non-sub today with Bamboozle, who I think was in chat. So I do non-sub as well, but it's mostly sub, just as my way of giving back to them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching to the end. If you want to come by and watch this live as well, ESL_OneAmongstMany on Twitch. It's easy enough to find. It's also in the description, so you can go find it there. Otherwise, follow me on Twitter as well, because then that will let you know when I go live. Okay, guys, thank you for watching to the end. It's been Josh, is one voice amongst many, coaching the many. I'll see you guys next time. Toodles. And boom, YouTube's gone. Alright, Time for some